Inspector Tristan Wilcox has been called to an Otara property where 2 dogs are reportedly living in appalling conditions. The complainant told the SPCA that one dog was on a very short chain with an open wound around its neck.
You can clearly see they don't have an adequate shelter. This one's covered in mange and has quite a badly cut-in neck there.
Mange is a serious condition and can cause a dog great discomfort.
Also conjunctivitis in that right eye there. So we will remove the dogs.
A notice of entry will be left for the owners, telling them that the dogs have been removed and taken to the SPCA.
His body condition is okay. But you can also see there's the hair loss again. So it is quite common for dogs that live together that they can transfer it onto the other dog. And the unhygienic conditions certainly don't help. Basically, there's just all the feces there. There's no fresh water. I mean, look at the green water, as if a dog's going to drink that. The dog with the collar wound, it could be a possible prosecution. I'd basically need to speak with the owners to determine how long it's been like that and also discuss with the vet how severe it is. But because of the mange and that sort of thing, it's probably made the skin and that sort of thing weaker and more susceptible, but they shouldn't have a dog on a wire anyway.
The SPCA removes over 1,000 animals from Auckland homes each year for reasons of cruelty and neglect. In this case, the owners will have to improve the dogs' living conditions before they'll be allowed back. Last week, Karen was called to a macabre scene. A rubbish bag of pigeons was dumped on the side of the road, some of them still alive.
So I will endeavour to get to the bottom of it. I'm just not lucky my chances at this point.
Since reporting the incident, a local newspaper has run the story and the publicity has paid off.
Really exciting news. The Manukau Courier came out last night and we received a phone call from a lady who identified the pigeons as her neighbours. She said the pigeons are all gone. They went sometime last week and all the cages have now been dismantled and are out in the front lawn for the inorganic collection. There's feathers everywhere, and she said they had bands on them similar to the ones that I described in the Courier. So yeah, I'm off there this morning to hopefully talk to the owners of the pigeons and they can explain to me how they appeared on the side of the road.
By the time Karen arrives at the house, unfortunately, the evidence is gone and the cages are no longer there. Further problems ensue when the door is answered.
From the SPCA? SPCA, you know the SPCA? No English. No English, okay. Is there anybody here who speak English?
No.
No? Just you.
I
Can't speak your language either. Bird? Do you have birds? Out back. Okay, I'm just going to go and walk around to the back of your property and have a look. Okay? I will come back and see you. You go back inside and I'll come and see you. Okay? Won't be 2 ticks.
Behind the house, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that birds of some variety were living here until quite recently.
Let's take a couple. This is the same bag that we found on the side of the road, so that's kind of promising. No pigeons in here. It's going to be difficult because I can't communicate with her at all. So I will take some feathers and just take them into Bert to make sure that they are actually pigeon feathers. Take a photo of the bag and we'll have to come back with an interpreter and explain what's actually going on. Just a bit of a shame, but I think this is where they came from.
The woman is desperate for Karen to understand her and shows her some jars from the kitchen.
Oh no, what is she showing me? What is this? What? Pepper? Eating pepper and salt? Good with pepper and salt? The pigeons are good with pepper and salt? I don't know.
She could be onto something there. The woman is Vietnamese and Karen phones an interpreter.
So I just need them to be honest with me and tell me where the pigeons have gone. And then we can work it out.
Some of the explanation rings true, but not all of it.
Just spoken with the interpreter, and her daughter is very sick. I think she's got some disease from the birds, which was probably going to be something like feather and beak, which they get from dirty conditions or enclosed where there's lots of birds in a small area. And she's in hospital, so while the daughter's in hospital, they've decided to get rid of the birds. She said that they just opened the cage and the birds flew away, and then now they've destroyed the cages as well. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more investigation. I'll perhaps come back with the interpreter and talk to her son, who speaks better English.
Tristan has arrived back at the SPCA with the 2 dogs he picked up from South Auckland.
It's certainly got quite a bit of mange there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Untreated, obviously, because it's all slimy. Dogs are nice and slimy and smelly. Conjunctivitis in the eyes.
Mange not only looks bad, but can also be extremely difficult to treat.
If it's sarcoptic mange, then it can be treated quite easily. If it's demodectic mange, then it's normally associated with a problem in their immune system, and even with intensive treatment for weeks, if not months, the success rate is still probably less than 50%. They often relapse as soon as you stop the treatment.
Senior vet Peter McQueen takes a skin scraping to see if the mange is treatable.
No, it looks like it's Demodex. Demodex is a far more difficult one to treat, and the prognosis is not good, especially in an older puppy when it's as generalised as this one, because it's very extensive.
Peter tries to make the dog as comfortable as possible. Even though Tristan's seen it all before, she's still shocked by the owner's indifference.
The symptoms that the dog is exhibiting is quite clearly, visibly obvious to anybody that didn't know what the skin condition was. It's no excuse that they don't get vet treatment for it, simply because it is so apparent with the hair loss, the red skin, the itching, all those sort of symptoms. Nobody can miss those. So yeah, absolutely no excuse for the owners not to have done anything.
Luckily, the mange on the second dog is still at an early stage, and Peter's cautiously optimistic of a cure.
In this one, the mange is localised just to 2 or 3 spots, so there would be a better chance of this one responding to a good, to a prolonged course of treatment. But once again, if it's related to the other one, which it almost certainly is because they look like they're probably siblings, then you're going to have to think that this one will just wind up like the other one if it's left long enough.
This is Buddhist monk Ajahn Chandako. Whilst out walking recently, he came across some creatures in the forest.
Nice to meet you. I understand you've got some goats.
That's right. We've got 3, actually.
3?
Yeah, so 2 of them over here. I'll take you over and show you.
Yep, that'd be great.
Ajahn found the baby goats in a pine forest and wasn't sure what to do.
Cold and rainy night, and I came across these 2 little goats, and there seemed to be no mother anywhere. I waited for a long time. There was no mother, and I deliberated on what I should do, and finally I decided to bring them back. These 2 goats have had a lot of loving kindness. Tried to give them a good childhood.
Because Ajahn plans to depart New Zealand for northern Thailand, the 2 kids need to find a new home. They've formed a bond with Ajahn, and he has learned something from them.
See, these 2 goats are my teachers. They teach me how to love without attachment. They're teaching me the difference between loving with attachment and loving without attachment. Because if I get attached to them, I'm going to miss them a lot. But I've given them as much kindness and compassion as I can, with the realization that eventually we're going to be separated.
Ajahn is delighted in having the goats join him in his daily meditations.
See, one thing we do is called walking meditation along this long path. And they tend to follow behind me. They think I'm mother, you see. Yes, wherever I go, they follow.
The little goats couldn't have found a kinder mother, and Tristan stands by while Ajahn says his goodbyes to his 2 teachers.
Say hello. Oh, I know. You'd like it here in the countryside. Sorry to see you go. I won't forget about you.